and our first guest on that segment is Zeenat Adam. Assalamu alaikum, welcome Zeenat.
Walaikum salam, Julie. It's so lovely to be speaking to you again.
Likewise. Now, before we talk about Israeli Apartheid Week, I know the last time I touched sides with you, you were working for the Department of Foreign Affairs, am I right?
It was quite some time ago. I've left them since then and been independent as a consultant for a while. I think we had chatted once after that regarding women in conflict regions.
Okay, great. So, Israeli Apartheid Week, I should imagine you've had a very, very hectic week. Can you tell us the, just how it played out this week? And what was the purpose of having this week? Was it specific to South Africa or was this happening worldwide?
Well, Julie, I'm going to be speaking a little bit more focused in terms of one of the events that were held during Israeli Apartheid Week in South Africa, and that was the launch of the Women's Boat to Gaza. This is an international effort by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition and supported by the Palestinian Solidarity Alliance in South Africa. The launch took place on the 8th of March, which coincided with International Women's Day. And fantastically, it worked well within Israeli Apartheid Week as well. So we had the official launch on Tuesday evening at Roasted Coriander in Greenside. That was from the South African part. But internationally, the launch took place in Sicily, and my colleague Shabnam Mayat was representing us at the international group. This initiative is an idea of having a women's boat to go and break the blockade of Gaza. The idea is that the boat will leave in mid-September from the Mediterranean, stop along the way, and reach Gaza by the 1st of October. Of course, we have a lot of challenges leading up to that and planning around how we're going to execute this. As part of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, I think it's important to note that this is something that began in 2009 when shortly after Israeli incursions into Gaza had resulted in Operation Cast Lead. And that caused some of the most horrific war crimes that we have ever seen, with the use of white phosphorus, with the indiscriminate killing of children, women, and other civilians. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition decided to launch the Mavi Mamra, and I think many of you will remember that that was one of the most tragic events that had happened. The idea was that a flotilla would leave from Turkey, supported by the IHH, and go as a humanitarian initiative. It was intercepted by the IDF, and brutally 10 people were killed. Others were abused and hurt terribly. Following that incident, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition had attempted on several other occasions to launch a few other flotilla missions on humanitarian basis to break the Gaza blockade. All of these were intercepted. The boats were confiscated by the IDF, and people have been harmed, perhaps not as brutally as the Mavi Mamra incident, but still really terribly affected by that. In 2013, there was another attempt, which was quite a unique idea, to have a Gaza Ark that would be built in Gaza. It would be loaded with products that have been produced in Gaza, and that would then support the Gazans in terms of their economy once that boat would leave for the international waters and to sell their product. The production was brought to a complete halt because the Israeli Defense Force bombed the area where the Gaza Ark was being built. And so this was sabotaged once again. What we're looking at now is solidarity with Palestinian women. We know that they have been so strongly a part of this fight against occupation. And very little credence is given to the work that they've done. If we think back to the Intifada, women had been at the forefront of the fight. And we have role models like Leila Khalid, for example. But there are other women who have been imprisoned, who have been killed, This week, we saw a young woman in Jerusalem being killed, apparently because she had tried to knife some soldiers. But this is a recurring issue, and we've seen that knives have been planted on people. And so they're not necessarily out there to attack the Israelis, and yet they're being killed in the process. What we want to do is highlight the role of women. And in doing so, this boat to Gaza is a wholly women-run project. The women are behind the scenes, the women will be part of the crew, and there will be only women on board as activists and as supporters of the cause.
Zeenat, you say it's going to be an all-women flotilla going to Gaza. I should imagine it's going to be filled with very needed supplies, medication, food, etc. Who are these women? Where are you getting them from? And I presume they're going to be paying for everything out of their own pockets. You probably will be doing a fundraiser, but the actual passage to Gaza will be funded out of each and every individual woman's own pocket. Would I be thinking that?
Julie, we are trying to raise funds. It is an expensive exercise, and we would certainly be conducting a number of events and activities to try and raise funds towards this. And we would really appeal to the South African public to please donate either through the Palestinian Solidarity Alliance or directly to the Women's Boat to Gaza. Yes, women are going to form part of this, but at this stage, we're unable to announce who those women are. They will be coming from various countries. The coalition currently has about 6 or 7 countries on board. South Africa is the only African country and probably the only developing country on board right now. So we're in a little bit more of a difficult situation financially to be able to fund our involvement in it. But the women from Palestine want us there. They find a strong solidarity with South Africans and with South African women. And more importantly, we're also aligning this to the 60-year anniversary of the Women's March to the Union buildings. We're also looking at it as the decade of women in Africa. So we really have to have a presence of South Africans on this mission. In terms of the names, due to security reasons at this stage, we're not able to announce who would be part of it. And the international committee is sitting to vet the individuals who have been nominated. Possibly closer to the time we would be able to announce. These are activists, these are women who have been prominent in their own right, some who are famous, and we're also looking for anyone else out there to just come forward and endorse this project. Put your name to it. Julie, we'd love to have you as a patron on board as well, at least to give us that kind of support, being such a prominent person in media.
So at this point in time, Zeenat, people watching us feel that they can make a meaningful contribution, maybe not monetarily, which you obviously are welcoming in a very big way. So people with big hearts and deep pockets watching us this morning can get in touch with you and make their necessary contribution and support. But for women who are wanting to join the flotilla, what is the criteria?
Well, at this stage, it is limited in terms of women who can actually be on board of the flotilla. But what we want women in South Africa to be doing is to be supporting us in terms of solidarity. In all of your own communities, your localities, in every province, we, of course, would be leading in terms of projects and events leading up to the launch of the boat. But we want women in their own communities to take the lead, to come forward and say, we would like to have an event, maybe a film festival, maybe a poetry jam, maybe some kind of a fundraising event or awareness, and we'll be happy to support that. And we want to have unity in doing so throughout the country. Right now, it's centrally focused in Johannesburg, and that's simply because of where the resources lie, but we want to reach out as widely as possible. We've had strong support from Cape Town as well, and I'm sure we will be seeing that from the other big cities like Durban, Port Elizabeth, and others.
That's where we leave it, Zeenat, but inshallah we will talk to you closer to the time. You did say it was in September, and then you can give us another update, inshallah. All the very best. Inshallah. I'm sure you're going to get lots and lots of response from this interview. Go well, and Assalamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah khair, Julie.
That was Zinat Adam talking to us about the women's flotilla that will be leaving. I think it will depart from Turkey sometime in September. It's an all-women flotilla taking much needed supplies and provisions to Gaza. So if you want to make, make your mark, make a difference and make a meaningful contribution, you can get in touch with Zinat Adam or one of the Palestinian organizations, support organizations based in South Africa. We're going for an ad break, and when we get back, our lines will be open. For those of you who would like to comment or make some meaningful contribution to the show, we're very happy to take your calls. And remember, we have a couple of giveaways, a beautiful sweet hamper from Broadway Sweets and 2 hampers of Amla oil from Amka. So that's our giveaways for this morning. Call in and who knows, you'll be standing in line to win one of those. But first, an ad break.